Welcome, Linda, to the Tourism Matters podcast. Thanks for being here with me on this Friday morning.
Thanks, Carmen. I'm excited. I'm actually a bit
Yeah.
curious about this conversation.
Good. That makes two of us. I'm always curious about every conversation. I never know where it's going to go, never ever. Can you remind me again, where are you? Toowoomba.
Yeah, I'm based in
Yeah,
Toowoomba, southern
great.
Queensland.
Oh, good. Okay. So from Perth to Toowoomba today. All right. So before I kick things off, I'm going to ask you a couple of little get to know you questions so me and my listeners can understand Linda Tillman a little bit more. So, question number 1. When you're flying and you're selecting your seats, are we aisle seat, middle seat, or window seat?
How funny, because I think about this, like I think about there's certain people on a plane. I am definitely an aisle seat.
And
Aisle, absolutely.
follow-up question then, have you always been aisle seat?
For as long as I've been quite selective in my seating, yes.
I'm seeing a trend. A lot of people are aisle seat, but they're noting that they were once window seat, but now have changed to aisle seat. And I myself fall in that category. Once I just wanted to look out the window, but now I need to be able to get up and go around, move around.
Yeah. Once
Yeah.
upon a time, I don't think I cared too much. I didn't think about it. I would just sit anywhere. But definitely now, I'm one of those ones that will go in and change my seat, and if there's no aisle seats, I'm utterly disappointed.
Changing my flights. That flight's
Yeah.
not available. All right. And my second question is, when you're on holiday or away and you're at your hotel buffet breakfast, what's going on your plate or in your bowl? Where are we headed? I feel like, hang on, I'm going to have a little prediction here. I feel like, not knowing you, it's going to be a healthy choice. I just have a feeling. Yeah.
I am a bit of a health freak. Yes, you've picked me.
Mm.
So I do care about what I eat. And usually mornings, first thing that came to my head is I wouldn't go to a buffet breakfast.
Ah.
I'd go out and find a really good coffee because I'm not an early morning breakfast person. I love to exercise early in the morning, have a coffee, and then it's kind of, not necessarily mid-morning, but a little bit later that I get hungry. So I'm always looking for eggs, avocado, salmon, peanut butter would be on the side. Like I'm addicted to peanut butter. So if there was peanut butter there, even if I'm having savory, there'd be a bit of peanut butter dropped on the side.
Yep. Just on your egg or?
No, just on the side so I can have it at the end as my little dessert.
See, this sounds like my sort of normal, regular day to day. I don't really eat until lunchtime. But if I'm on holiday and I'm at a hotel, you can't keep me away from a hotel breakfast. I just need to poke around and see what's there and try something local or
Definitely. Like it depends on the type of buffet. Like we could talk about this for hours,
yeah, we could.
but yeah, if it's good food, and I'm always after local food, nice, healthy food, nothing too
Mm.
kind of heavy because I love to be active and work hard during the day.
Right. Well, I feel like I do know you a little bit better after those questions. Often those questions yield some very bizarre results, and I feel like I don't know my guests any better. So I feel like I feel like I know you better now, Linda.
Yeah, I'm one of those. Someone said that to me the other day, actually. I went for a skin check, actually, and the doctor said, "You're a runner." One of
Right.
those. That's what she said. One of those. And I was like, yeah, I guess so.
Hang on. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to double click on this. Did you tell her you were a runner?
I
Or
did. Yeah,
did somehow she pick you were a runner from your skin?
she picked it because I'm obviously exposed to the sun a bit. But it was her comment. Oh, you're one of those.
One of those. Okay. She's clearly not a runner.
No, she's not. We
Well,
are a
yes, you're
tad
one of
crazy.
those. You are one of those, Linda. All right. Now that we've identified you one of those, let's go back, please, to young Linda. Where were you brought up? Where are you from?
I'm from Dubbo, New South
Ah,
Wales. I was born
right.
born in Dubbo, spent my first 12 years in Dubbo, and then moved to northern New South Wales to a small town called Alstonville. And that's where I did my high school, university in Lismore.
Ah, all right. So when you finished high school, did you know what you wanted to do with your life? You
Kind
did?
of,
Yeah? Alright,
kind
what did
of,
you want
yeah.
what was your vision?
So, yeah, this is a fun story.
Okay, good.
I wanted to be the CEO of the Marriott Resort in Port Douglas. Hmm, very
Very
specific,
specific.
right? Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. I have no idea why. I think because maybe just the beauty of it, the appeal of this beautiful kind of, tropical town, hotel management. At that time, I did a little bit of tourism and travel in year 11 and 12. So I kind of
I
got a
did.
little bit of a taste of it. And I was like, yeah, I think I could do that. That'd be really cool.
And as far as I'm aware, this has not been a part of your career journey?
Not at all. Have not done
And
any hotel work.
no, me neither. And so is it still on your list of it's still the
No,
aspiration? No.
no. But funny, I've been up there a few times for both work and pleasure.
Mhm.
So I make sure I swing by and just kind of, you know, think about it. No, I'm happy
See
with
if
my choices.
see if there's any job opening. Oh, so you studied tourism in year 11 and 12?
Yeah, I did a TAFE component with, I don't know if it was year 11, it might have just been year 12, but definitely in those senior years, I did TAFE. So we would go out of school, I think it was only like half a day, 1 day a week. We would go to the TAFE college
Mm.
in Lismore. So my high school was in Austinville. We'd go to TAFE in Lismore 1 afternoon a week, and we would do travel and tourism. And it was very travel focused.
Mhm.
So, real kind of that travel agent focused content. So, when I think back to it, it didn't really teach me much about what I do now, but it certainly sparked an interest for me in that whole world of, travel and tourism and
Right.
destinations. Yeah.
Why do you think you picked that as a subject to do in year 12?
Wow. That's a great question. Why? I think maybe it was just sounded fun,
Mm.
holidays, people traveling. And I think as a kid growing up, apart from kind of the family holidays, intrastate, visiting grandparents and, the odd kind of interstate holiday, as a kid, I didn't have the luxury of, lots of overseas travel or certainly not big kind of, luxurious family holidays. And I think there was some kind of appeal there kind of or curiosity around that made me go, this is interesting. People travel around the world. And I was like, I might
Yeah.
be part of that.
Okay. Yeah, I asked that question because as I, speak to more people in the industry, I think the message that's coming through is that a lot of those year and 11 and 12 students these days are doing tourism for a variety of reasons, but oftentimes it is just a general interest in traveling,
Mm,
um, or it's fits the schedule that they want for their or that they perceive it to be an easy option. And not unfortunately, I'm not hearing anyway students are choosing it because they think, hey, this is a career that I might actually want to do or
hmm
be involved in, or that I can see myself, having a rewarding and a viable career in the tourism or hospitality or events industries.
I would absolutely support that. And as a mother of a daughter that graduated from year 12 last year, it's something that I was talking to the schools about a lot. My daughter and her cohort of friends would ask me questions all the time about what I do. And they've never, ever heard of careers like tourism, destination development,
Hmm.
nothing. It's, yeah, big gap,
There,
big
yeah.
opportunity for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's why the podcast exists, is to shine a light on, tourism is
Mm,
more than being a travel agent or a flight attendant or I don't know what else, a barista. There's a breadth and depth of skills and roles and personality types required in the industry. And it can
absolutely.
be and is for many people a long and rewarding career, myself included. So thank you for that extra little bit of insight. So you finish high school and then you go on to further studies straight away?
Excuse me. Yeah, I went straight into so that little taste of tourism and travel at TAFE sparked something in me. So, and I didn't. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. There were kind of those little dreams and, things, but I wasn't one of those that was like, I'm going to be a doctor or I'm going to be this, or I didn't really know. But um, I had that interest in the tourism and the travel. And thankfully at Southern Cross University in Lismore, they offered a fantastic business in tourism degree.
Right.
And so I decided to follow that path. I went straight into university. And the reason I liked that is because I didn't have my heart set on tourism. I was interested in it, but at least this degree actually also offered a lot of business topics or
Got it.
yeah, so I was able to get those fundamentals around, business and marketing and finance, etc., before we then went and specialized in tourism and service-based industries.
Right. And I think that Bachelor of Business model, is that what it was? Bachelor of Business, but
Yeah.
then majoring in, yeah. I think that's a really good model for a higher education if you know
Mm.
if you wanna do the full 3 years, 'cause all those fundamentals of marketing and finance and accounting and even HR,
Yeah.
that's all valuable throughout anyone's career in tourism. So,
Mm.
yeah. Alright, so you finish your degree and then what happens?
Well, it was actually during my degree that I found my passion. And it was one of my lecturers, Rosa Derrett, and she's still based in Lismore. And I catch up with her every now and then. She was teaching a topic that I decided to specialize in, which was rural tourism. And I did a major assignment. And that assignment was on the power of tourism to revitalize rural communities.
Wow.
And I did it on Nundle, which is a little town near Tamworth in New South Wales. And way back then, because we're talking years ago, it was a time where Nundle was really struggling through drought, economic decline. They were losing a lot of residents. And the community actually got together and started to do a lot of fabulous work around, reigniting their main street and a lot of their buildings. And they started to explore tourism and they looked at the opportunities it could bring. And it totally transformed that rural community. So I did a major project and that was my case
Mm.
study. And that was it. I was like, that's what I want to do. I love regional and rural communities and I want to support them by being able to grow and develop tourism and visitation so that they can benefit socially and economically. That's what I wanted to do.
Wow. I think we
That
can
was
say
it.
you're successfully doing that now, Linda.
And 20 years. I've been doing it for nearly 20 years. And I only said to somebody the other day, I love what I do. I wake up every day, despite sometimes being a little overloaded. I still get up with energy and enthusiasm to jump into whatever it is that I'm working on. And I think it's because I have the pleasure of working with so many different amazing communities across regional and rural Australia. So it never feels the same.
Mm.
And I feel like I'm having an impact.
Mm. Wow, that's so rewarding when you have that feeling.
Mm,
Yeah. All right. Well, we will come back around to what you're currently doing. So studies finish,
yeah.
and then what happens?
So I did an internship. The beauty of that university degree was I did the final 6 months as an internship. I did that with Lismore City Council doing a destination marketing role.
Mm.
And that was excellent, and loved that job. I still remember my director at that time, Lisa. She was so inspiring. And after that, they offered me a position with council working in tourism. And I guess that was a real turning point for me because I was like, I went straight from school to uni. I was like, I don't want to be an adult. I wasn't
Who
ready to be
does?
an adult.
No,
No,
I'm not
I was like,
ready.
I
I'm not
don't.
ready either. I'm still not ready.
Oh, so I didn't know what to do at that time. I was like, well, what do I do then? So I ended up declining the offer and I worked with them in a casual capacity for a little while. And funnily enough, I was working out of the office in the visitor information centre. And I would constantly hear these travelers coming in, and the volunteers on the front desk were talking to them and about they're traveling around Australia and they're doing all this stuff. And I'm hearing this all the time. So I just one day, I feel like this is my life, just sporadic decisions. One day I just went, that's what I'm going to do. So within about 2 weeks, I bought a caravan, four-wheel drive, and I went and traveled around Australia for 2 years.
Wow. 2 years.
Yeah.
Wow. By yourself?
No, I had a partner who is now my
Okay.
husband, and we traveled for 2 years and we just did seasonal work, you know, down in the snow, went up into the middle, spent a lot of time in Darwin and the Northern
Mm.
Territory and fell in love with the place. I probably could have just stayed there. Um, spent a lot of time. We didn't go to WA. 2 years and we didn't go to WA because it was
Wow.
like, we'll go over to WA and spend a year over there. But by that time, I was done with living in a caravan
Yeah.
and I was ready to kind of feel grounded again.
Yeah.
So we were like, okay, let's not do WA. And as soon as we're in a position to, we'll visit WA and spend some time over there. And we
Yeah.
certainly have done that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
2 years. That's a good relationship tester.
It was. It was. Yeah.
I was wondering if we would get to a point where there was some sort of gap. I think
Yeah.
I'll have to have a look back at all my conversations, but I think almost 100% of people I've spoken to have had some type of gap year or gap of some length and early on between
Mm,
school and study or study and career or something. And then, yeah, that's just either ignited a love for travel and tourism or like solidified the love that they
yeah.
think, it's just grown the passion for it, which sounds like probably is your scenario.
That's yeah, absolutely solidified for me because I had the opportunity to travel through all of these amazing parts of the country. And it's funny because now I work in a lot of those places, or I have
Yeah,
worked in a lot of those places and have been able to support them through what I do. So, yeah, it was an amazing time. Highly
great.
recommend it.
Yeah, yeah. I know that is definitely on my list. We'll start with WA. There's plenty of ground to cover.
Absolutely.
All right, so I get back from a couple of years on the road. Is that back to
Yeah.
Lismore? Or?
No, and we actually ended up in Wagga Wagga in New South Wales. So on that 2-year journey, my husband was also exploring his career. He's had worked on farms and everything his younger years and was trying to find his way. And he found that as well when we were traveling because we just randomly met a master farrier in a pub in Jindabyne and got talking to him over a beer. And that turned into, he was from Young near Wagga. My husband ended up doing his farrier apprenticeship with him. So we moved to Wagga, and I
Wow.
thought, Wagga, what am I going to do in tourism in Wagga? So I went to the council. First thing I did, went to the council and I met with the tourism manager and the events manager at council and just introduced myself and talked about what I had been doing, what I'm interested in. And then I started some casual work with council, and that kind of snowballed to where I am now.
Wow. Now, I would like to just point out here to listeners, especially young listeners, that this is another example of a job landed because a guest has put themselves out there and started a
Yeah.
conversation and not waited to find something on a job board, but actively made themselves known in the local tourism community. And Linda, this is something that I harp on about in just about every episode because just about everybody has a story of a time they got a job just because they went and spoke to somebody or reached out to somebody. So thank you for carrying on the trend.
Yeah. And as we
Yeah.
know, like the tourism industry is all about networks.
Mhm.
And I'm sure other industries are probably similar to that, but I
Mhm.
absolutely know that the tourism industry is built on networks. And
Mhm.
what I found in my entire career from that first meeting I had with council was that it's all about putting yourself out there
Mhm.
and building those connections and creating those relationships. And then it just kind of folds on or rolls on from there.
Yeah. What was the job that you were doing for them at that time, Linda?
Yeah, I ended up doing a role. They just created a role for me. I think because I was so, I guess, confident to go in there and put myself outside of my comfort zone.
Again, this is not the first time I've heard this story.
Wow.
Listeners, please, yes, like, "Oh, no, we don't we'll just make something up because we like you and we want you as part of the team." So,
Yeah.
sorry, carry on,
Yep.
but,
Yeah.
just can't say it loud enough how
Yeah.
important networking is. Yeah. Alright, sorry, carry on. Just had to get that out.
Absolutely. Yeah, so I ended up doing some project support. So I was supporting the tourism team on some projects, and also at that time council was in the event delivery space, so I also helped with some festival and event development and
Mm,
delivery.
right.
And that certainly sparked my, because I didn't really have an events interest, if I'm honest, but
Right.
that really was probably the catalyst for me in terms of my, definitely my interest in the power of events to drive regional tourism.
Mm,
So yeah, I did the few little projects with council, and then I was actually seconded by the university to go and look after their community development department and the events that they were running at the university. So I did an events role for a number of years in Wagga, and then I had my beautiful baby girl, and then the next
wow.
chapter began.
Alright, let's talk about the next chapter. So hang on, can we just put a little timestamp on this? What sort of year are we talking here?
Oh, what was Jess was born 2008.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's that? 17-ish years ago. Alright, so motherhood approaches.
Yes. And that was, for someone like me, I don't like to sit still for long.
I
I thought, oh, you know what? I'm just going to be a mum
mm,
and I'm going to enjoy it and I'm going to just take it easy. And that lasted about 3 months. And I was like, I need something to stimulate my brain.
right.
And this is where connections come in, right? So what I had done at Wagga had connected me with so many people within the tourism industry across the entire region that I was just fortunate to be approached by the regional tourism organisation asking me just to do a little PR contract for them. It was like 1 day a week that I was doing it. And I loved it. And that, you know what that did? I built more contacts. And then people started
Yeah.
just contacting me and saying, will you do this little project? Will you do this? And so I was doing just little projects. And then from there, I was like, there's something in this and I want to do this more. And that's when Tilma Group was born.
Wow. Alright, so talk to me about Tilma Group.
So, oh my God, I don't know where to start with that. It's been an evolution, and I guess the thing that has remained true, Tilma Group was born out of my desire to support regional and rural communities to be vibrant and resilient through having a really strong tourism and events industry. If
Mhm.
we refer to it today, a visitor economy. So that's what I wanted to do. I was like, I want to support these amazing people in regional communities to develop, grow, elevate, the tourism industry, so they gain the benefit from that.
Mm,
So that was kind of the foundation of it, and we did a lot of. It probably started more agency style work. We were in more of that event delivery, marketing campaigns, doing
right.
a lot of the doing and had a very big team. So
Mhm.
over the time, every organization has kind of these evolutions, and
Mhm.
we have gone from Wagga to now being in Toowoomba. You know what's really funny about it? I don't know if other people experience this, but it's interesting that wherever I'm based, so when I was in Wagga with Tilma Group, we did very little work in that local area. All of my work was outside of that area. Now I'm in Toowoomba.
Right.
All of my work is everywhere else, which is so
Right.
interesting. I always do little pockets of work locally. But yeah, I basically been just delivering amazing projects around destination development, event strategy, and also capability building, where we have the pleasure of working at that grassroots level to support industry, non for profits, communities right across regional and rural Australia.
And so when you say supporting, like delivering training and mentorship, and is that is that what that looks like?
Yeah. Yeah, I guess there's the way I often describe it is we have the real pleasure of working at both ends of the spectrum. So we do more, I guess, significant strategy work at a higher level with government, whether that be with state tourism organisations, regional tourism organisations, or local government. So we do a lot of destination development and strategy work. And then we also, so that's kind of looking at the big picture. How do we, achieve goals, sustainability, etc., within different destinations? So setting kind of that roadmap and the strategy for them to achieve what it is that they want to achieve from tourism. But we also do the real kind of foundation, or no, foundation kind of dumbs it down a little bit. It's the fundamental, you know, work in our industry, which is supporting operators.
Yeah.
So we do a lot of work, whether sometimes it could be funded by government, where they will get us to design and deliver capability building programs or training skill development programs for our operators. And we will work with operators one on one. We do workshops with operators. It's just that is the real kind of fill your cup stuff, you know? Like I love
Yeah.
strategy. I have a real strategic brain, but even yesterday I was on a mentoring session with a farmer in the Somerset region, just near Brisbane. And we've been doing some mentoring with some of their farmers around agritourism. It's just so rewarding to support those that are prepared to invest
Mhm.
in our industry, and to be able to just support them on that journey is extremely rewarding. So, yeah, I get to work at both ends of the spectrum. We
Yeah.
are so lucky.
Yeah, that is really lucky and quite unique, I think.
Mm,
And, at the end of the day, the strategy there is no strategy if there's no product or no operators.
absolutely.
Yeah. So that is very unique that you get to work at both ends. And it really that makes sense if you think about it. If you have your head wrapped around what the strategic thinking is from a local, regional, or state, or even nationwide level, and then can filter that information, relevant information, through to operators. Seems to make
Absolutely.
perfect sense. Yeah. Seems like a no
Yeah,
brainer.
definitely. And I think that's where we can offer the value at both ends, because also when we're doing strategy, it's excellent for us to know
Yeah.
what's happening on the ground.
That's so
We
true.
have boots on the ground in
Hmm.
regions. So, because
Hmm.
sometimes strategy can get caught up in big picture. Sometimes we can
Hmm.
try to be too big and bold, but sometimes it's really that, the foundations of what's required on the ground, particularly in regions where it's more about our people than anything else. And we need to
Mm.
support them to make sure that our industry really thrives.
Mm. Oh my God, we could talk about this forever, Linda. Before we continue, I just wanted to ask before I forget, did you have a desire to like be an entrepreneur and have your own business, or did you just see the gap and decide that you were the one that needed to fill it?
Definitely no desire. It was not anything I thought I would do, actually. It just fell into my lap, I guess.
Do
And
you
I've
think
always been one to just take opportunities that come up.
right?
So, yeah, it was an opportunity that I jumped on.
And how did you find that, I guess, learning curve from being an employee? Or I guess you had, a period of time, consulting or doing project work. So I guess that sort of dipped toe into
Mm.
the world of business. But was that a learning curve for you, having your own employees and, having to sell and find, yep.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
I think hardest part in business is people management for me.
Mm.
You know,
Hmm.
it's and it's always been this tension for me because I also love to be the doer.
Hmm.
And I've
Mm.
got a couple of business coaches and I've had a few across the years, but they're always like, Linda, you're doing too much. Linda, you're doing too much. And that's a real struggle for me because I guess it wasn't that I set the business up to give myself a job. I set the business up because it enabled me to do what I love to do. You know, I couldn't do what I do in a structured role. I would be kind of more like if I was in local government, I have a very prescriptive role in that particular area. And I wanted to
Mhm.
touch on, you know, all parts of Australia. I was a bit greedy, I guess. So it was like I had to create it to do what I really wanted to do. And so now, and the entire time I've had Tilma Group, that's been the tension for me is managing kind of the business side from a time perspective, the business side with the client side, because I love the client side. So it didn't come natural to me, but I had amazing people around me. And I think that's the other thing is I've always been open to collaborate, you know, take on board help where I need to. And I've always, you know, had business coaches and people along the way that can really support me.
Yeah, coaches and mentors are exceptional in the early days, aren't they? Well,
Yeah.
in all days actually, but
Even now. Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess, businesses are just constantly evolving. So there's always, a new set of things that you don't know how to do or don't know,
Yeah.
how to make the right decision on. So, yeah, you're
Yeah.
exactly right. But I also just wanted to just quickly say that that's no mean feat to have had such a successful business for so long.
Mm,
So,
mm.
congratulations to you on that. It's no fly by nighter. Is that the saying? Fly by night? Fly by day? Fly by night. I'm going with that.
Fly by night.
Whatever that even means.
In an aisle seat. Definitely.
All right. So at some point in there, a new business is born, yes?
I was waiting
Because
for this one.
one's not enough.
Yeah, crazy. See, I'm one of those.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, I it was it's been an interesting journey, and it's funny how you become known for something. And I think with tourism in regional communities, events play such a critical role. And I'm talking, you know, particularly in rural areas, not kind of our boundaries of our country, which have, you know, amazing coastlines. But as soon as you start to move inwards, we're actually quite dependent on festivals and events to drive
Mhm.
visitation, brand, reputation, etc. So I quickly realized that events are really critical to what I do at Tilma Group, and not necessarily in the event delivery space, but how do we strategically use events to support destination development and drive visitation into regional communities? Yeah, events became a real key part of Tilma Group and what we were doing, and it got to a point where it started to take over,
Right.
and that was never the intention, but I noticed that there was a real need for this. There was a real need to support events in regional communities. We were doing lots of work in terms of supporting events in setting up structures. We were doing their strategies. And it was like the same thing with every event. It was like every event was struggling with the same things. And I'm like, okay, there's something in this. We need to build capability. They can't keep paying for someone to do it. I need to be able to build their capability to do these things
Yeah.
so that it's more affordable for them and it actually is more sustainable for the event and supports succession planning. So when did this start? I can't even remember, but that's another journey. I started playing with it. I started playing with this idea of regional event capability building. And I was like, I can build a program that could then be scaled for events across regional communities. But it was just a little side hustle. Like I was just kind of playing around with it for a couple of years. And it was only 2 years ago, I'll say 2 years ago, I'm not really good with numbers. But 2 years ago, I was approached by Kathy Treasure from Parks in New South Wales. And I'd known Kath for some years and the fabulous work that she was doing with the Parks Elvis Festival as festival director. So I'd often called on her as a case study because everybody would say to me, we want to be like Parks Elvis Festival. We want a festival like Parks. We want to be like Parks. So I'd often call on Kath and we'd talk about, you know, opportunities and best practice. And yeah, two
Right.
years ago, she rang me out of the blue and just said, look, I'm ready for my next chapter in my career. And I really love what you're doing in regional events and she wanted to have a chat about how we could work together. And now
Wow.
we have Australian Centre for Regional Events.
Wow. So the two of you together.
Two of us together,
Yeah.
it she's amazing. Like, it's fabulous because I guess you've just heard my story. So my background is very much tourism, the kind of strategic component,
Mhm.
how events drive visitation, support regional communities. So I come from that perspective. Kath comes from the very much the event operations,
Mm.
delivery on the ground. She's worked on events all over the world, massive, big events down to small regional events. So our skill sets are so complementary. And now we're
Mm.
just having so much fun working across regional Australia, delivering training and
Yeah.
mentoring and just we're really trying to build the capability of events in regional and rural communities. It's not easy. There's some serious challenges with events in regional communities, and we could talk about that for hours. But we're trying to do our bit. We're trying to really just support the succession planning and the long term viability of events in regional communities, and not
Mm.
all of them, but certainly those that keen to elevate, grow, and continue to drive that tourism success.
So do you want to give me maybe the top couple of issues that you're seeing for events?
Well, there's actually really three. Three things, and we did a survey last year of a heap of events across regional Australia, and I think the problem I see is the two top challenges have not changed in 20 years,
Oh, okay.
and that is money and
Uh,
people.
yeah.
It is still the events are resource intensive. It is so hard to deliver events in regional communities when you are constrained by money and your human capacity. So they're the two biggest ones. And what we're now seeing is that is being overlaid with growing compliance and risk and insurance challenges.
Okay.
And you combine those three things, they're big things, right? They're really hard to solve just through some training. So it's how do we have conversations, at a higher level to look at the model. It's like the
Mhm.
model is needing some system change.
Mm.
They're big things, and I'm keen to try to solve it, but I won't be doing it on my own.
Yeah.
And I can't do it on my own.
No.
But I think we've got some, yeah, I think the future looks exciting for events in regional communities if we're prepared to be bold enough to change the model behind how we fund events, how we support events, and also, the funding allocation around mega events versus our homegrown regional events.
Yeah, and just I guess from a tourism, perspective on that, domestic and international tourists are increasingly looking to get out of the cities and out into the regions and get the real taste of what real Australia is
Yeah.
looks like, or real insert any country's name is like. And events and festivals are just like another layer on top of why you would already want to go to a particular region. Yeah, so it hits. Well, I know from my experience in Tasmania that it certainly helps with that regional dispersal piece when there is some type of festival or event taking place in the regions to draw visitors there and to get them out of the big cities. Yeah, big
Yeah,
cities.
absolutely. Yeah, spot on. I think, yeah, events, they're powerful. They're powerful economically, but they're even more powerful socially. Particularly those type of place-based homegrown events that give people an opportunity not just to be entertained, but actually to immerse themselves in a place. And that's what visitors are looking for, they're looking
Yes.
for those opportunities to feel that sense of place and to feel
Yep.
connected and to get out of the hustle and bustle. And I think those regional events that we can offer across all of Australia or the world present that opportunity for our visitors to feel a bit like a local. You
Yep.
know? That's
100%.
what they offer. I think it's, yeah, exciting.
Yeah.
There's just they're tough. That's all I can say is
constraints.
they're tough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, it is
Yeah.
tough. Yeah, and then, I mean, then you can even get to, the real logistical issues of things like weather and
Mm. Climate change. Yeah.
accommodation in the local area where the event is and all of that sort of logistical issue as well. Yeah, without
Yeah.
getting too into the nuts
Yeah.
and bolts.
Yeah.
Can I double click just quickly then on the capability part of that, given the focus of this particular podcast?
Yeah.
So, what do you see, I guess, are particular issues like in the regions for workforce, I guess, and careers and capability? What are you seeing out there for in either, in either of your businesses, in either scope?
That is such a big one. I think I won't go into this in detail because it's a big topic, but certainly the volunteering piece from an events perspective, it's just completely changed and we have to think different about it. And I
Right.
think there's so many exciting opportunities for young ones to volunteer in events, but we have to be open to operating differently to allow them to come in and do that. So
Right.
I think there's, yeah, so many exciting opportunities around volunteering at events in regional communities if we're prepared to do things different. Mm,
Is it
I
is it a
also,
massive tangent? Sorry, if I then say, what do you mean when you say if we're prepared to do things different? What is standing? Because I certainly did plenty of events volunteering when I was going through my advanced diploma in tourism and event management back in 2000. I was volunteering at any event I could.
yeah, I think, yeah, what I see is that in some regional communities, you've got very traditional ways of operating. And sometimes that isn't a flexible operating model that enables creative, fresh, and new thinking to come in. So when you
Okay.
have younger people come in, they come with new energy, right? And
Mhm.
ideas. And
Mhm.
sometimes traditional ways of operating don't welcome that, and it
Okay,
can
understand.
create some tension in regional
Good.
communities. So what we
Okay,
often
got it.
see is young ones say, "I really," well, the existing committees or teams will say, "Nobody will volunteer. The young ones don't volunteer." I hear that everywhere I go. But if you have conversations with the younger people in the community, their response to that is, I do want to volunteer, but I don't want to go and sit at meetings every month and I
Mm,
can't commit to XYZ, but I'm happy to stay up at night and help you with some funding applications or do this. So we have
okay.
to evolve that model around
Right.
volunteering so that it enables that flexibility for how we live our lives these days,
Okay,
like
got it. Yeah.
to bring that volunteering opportunity in.
Right. Thank you.
We also don't have enough people in regions. And
Yeah.
Kath and I talk about this a lot. Like we often go, why is it so hard? Why are regional events so hard? Regional events are hard because it's often one person or a small team that are playing every single role. They are the marketing manager, the operations manager, the finance manager, the risk manager, the logistics coordinator. There's many more than that, but you know what I
Yep.
mean. They're wearing,
Mm,
it's like they're juggling all those
mhm.
plates in the air, trying to be everything. Whereas if you go to a major event and work on a major event in the city, often you've just got one role.
Yep.
You might be looking after media or you're doing sponsorship. But in a region, we're expected to do all of that,
Mhm.
and that creates some challenges. And we don't have the skills in regions to sometimes take on some of those roles. And so we don't have the capability there to do it. And sometimes we just don't have the people
Yeah.
there to do it. So we have to try to juggle all of those things ourselves. And we don't have the money
Yeah.
in a lot of cases in our regional events to be able to, have the luxury to pay a team to come in and help.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for
Mm.
delving into that a little deeper. It's I don't know, it just feels so fundamental to try and find some solutions to those sort of three key areas that you've just identified because yeah, it just will just really help drive that regional dispersal that I know all the STOs are trying to achieve.
Mm.
Yeah, but I think like you said It's going to take a combined effort on many levels.
Do you want to hear my idea?
Go.
So, what I said to you, those three fundamental challenges: people, money, and compliance or risk, that is consistent across every region that we go into in Australia. They are the three biggest challenges. I believe that it's those three things that are burning out our event teams. Stress about money, not having enough volunteers or the right model or even just a team, and the growing risk and compliance is adding so much pressure on event teams that they actually don't have time and energy to invest into the fun stuff, which is the creative design of your event, which is the delivery of your event. It's the reason many of us do events, right? So we're
Yep.
getting bogged down in this stuff and we don't have the energy time to put into this. So the result is we end up with a series of events across regional communities that are same. And that's purely because there's no time and energy to think about, creative reinvention or
Mm.
design around the event. So, what I want to see are regional hubs. I want to see regional hubs because my vision is we take away that issue of, you know, compliance, admin, or the stuff that's burning them out, and we build these kind of regional hubs because all events are struggling with the same thing, yet there's experts out there that can do these things for events,
Right.
specialists that could do it. And if you had a team of specialists that are working for 20 or 30 or 100 events,
Right.
they're just doing their traffic management, they're helping them with sponsorship proposals, they're doing their event permits, they're all of that stuff that really drags them down. Take
Yep.
that out of the equation and let our
Oh,
amazing people in regions do the good stuff and deliver exceptional event experiences.
wow.
That's what I'd love to see. Start that collaboration, resource sharing. We need to work smarter.
That's a very exciting proposal.
So, if anyone out there that wants to pilot this, I would love to talk to them. I'm on a mission.
I will certainly have your LinkedIn details in the show notes so people can get in contact with you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, have you got anything else that you'd like to add? Did you want to get up on your soapbox about anything before we wrap things up? Or any words of wisdom, advice for young people or career changers that are looking to make a move into tourism, hospitality, events industries, or, living or working in regional Australia? That was a broad question, but any parting words, I guess?
Yeah, thank you. Look, there's so many things I would love to say, but just to, I guess, keep it simple and I have these conversations a bit with, different organizations and even with my, teenage kids and their friends is the tourism and events industry is not just a short-term career opportunity or a gap filler. The tourism and events industry can offer so many amazing career opportunities at all levels. So don't, I guess, discount that and think, oh, that I'll go and work in hospitality, in my gap year, for example. There are so many exciting opportunities at all of those levels to be working in the tourism industry. And the same with events. Like it's such a sexy industry and it's fun to be on the ground in the event delivery, but there's so many other opportunities to work in events at even a higher level. So
Hmm.
I would just encourage people. I know there's not a lot of opportunities through school pathways at the moment, but I would just strongly encourage people to look at what opportunities exist within the tourism industry because I know for me personally, it's been just so rewarding and I can't wait for another 20 years, working in regional tourism. It's just such a great rewarding industry and we have fun because we're all about, making sure people have great experiences in our country. So
Yeah.
it's the best job ever.
Yeah, I agree. And your passion and dedication definitely comes through hard and fast, Linda.
I love
So,
it.
yeah, thank you for everything you do. Um,
Thank you.
all right. Well, thank you for being here with me today. I will, as I said, have your LinkedIn profile in the show notes so people can get in touch with you if they like. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your Friday.
Thanks, Carmen.
All right. Thank you. See you later.